but two of the goals should have seemingly been ruled out. The ball going out of play on both occasions and the build up to the finishes. So much at stake, and we always go on about the riches being so much on offer. Is the Championship surely weaker for the continuation of no VAR in it?
Right, two sides to that argument. Depends where you are on the argument of VAR in the first place. If you believe it's an advantage for football. And the second side of it is, it's preposterous to suggest that a game of football in a Championship is worth less than a game of football in the eyes and minds of the fans that are watching it in the Championship than it is in the Premier League. It should be deployed. It should be deployed at the cost of perhaps the Premier League, because some of their products dropping into the Championship. Every ground, within reason, every professional football ground should have the same opportunity. It's not a different game of football. It's not governed by a different set of rules. It is relatively ridiculous to suggest that football being played in one space has a different set of opportunities to be correct in the analysis than in another. So what does it tell you about English football? It's another example, of course, perhaps for those that want the independent regulator in, to suggest that distributions of money will allow these things to facilitate themselves. The FA should be going to the Premier League or doing whatever they need to do, rather than sitting there reading the newspaper and waiting for the next England game, to distribute money in to be able to make sure that all the grounds are hardwired for VAR.
Yeah.
End of discussion.
I mean, the irony is, Simon, they use it for the final. The Championship playoff final at Wembley, they have VAR.
Because of the broadcaster, I suspect.
My concern about that is we were already told last year by Howard Webb that we haven't really got enough VAR technicians that can do the job well enough in the Premier League, never mind in the Championship. So where are we going to find these
Is that
people?
what he told us?
Yeah. He said he needed to improve the training. There was a 6-point plan, wasn't there, that was created. One of those was transparency, delays, training for VAR.
Did you make that up? He said they didn't have enough people.
No, he implied.
Like
and he was honest and said, "Look, the guys haven't necessarily. Certainly, the referees don't have that technical skill set to go in and be a very good."
But that's
efficient.
a year ago. So now, a year forward, one would like to think that that hole in knowledge and resource might have been plugged. Right?
Surely, absolutely. I mean, what is stopping them? And here's the thing: if Norwich end up going up automatically, say Norwich get to the playoffs and Derby don't.
Well, I'm happy for that because I tipped them.
Remember what happened that weekend back in September?
The goals
that were disallowed. The ball was
photographs.
blatantly over the line. You know what's coming. Surely it can't be that difficult to implement it.
Did Tottenham do something to Liverpool last year as a result of
Diaz's goal?
Diaz's goal. Unfortunately, it happens, and these situations manifest themselves. But I don't think you could track it back to the other 40 games that you played all year to suggest that one moment might have been the defining moment. That's an excuse culture.
Well, I guarantee you, Derby fans haven't forgotten all that quickly, or they won't forget all that quickly what happened at the weekend. Fans of Championship clubs, though, the fact that you've got no VAR is a Championship weaker for continuing on with no VAR. You might want to give us a call on that or send me a message, 81089 03717 223344. No VAR in the Championship? I mean, come on. VAR in the Championship? The fans are up in arms. I can't believe this. There's a Blackburn Rovers fan. Have a great day, guys. Great show. I'm enjoying it. The Championship is not weaker without VAR. It's better off without it. It always will be. Incidentally, Jim, Simon's a top bloke. What? I mean, why throw that in? There's another one. I'm a Derby fan, even though I'm very annoyed with the officials on Saturday. I don't want to see VAR in the Championship. I like celebrating a goal when it's scored without having to wait for a VAR bloke 100 miles away to decide if it's a goal or not. Decisions like Saturday even themselves out over a season. Yeah, but come back on when Derby just missed the playoffs and Norwich made it. Come back on when that happens. Sheffield Wednesday fans up in arms about this as well. Are you kidding us? We don't want VAR. Are you sure about that? Have you given it plenty of thought? Noel's a Derby fan. No. Good morning. What's your take on this? I mean,
good morning, lads. Good shows ever.
Thanks, Noel. Do you still feel robbed at the weekend?
Absolutely. But what I want to ask Martin and Simon is this question. Sportsmanship is supposed to be honesty and integrity. Why can't the two managers say, that's wrong, go up to the ref and say, we're not having that because the ball was 100% out and restart? Why can't that come into play? Well, we need VAR then if we had more honesty.
Well, I'm certainly looking at the first incident. I'm not sure anybody else would have seen it because there isn't a linesman close to the byline. Maybe we should have another official on the byline to see if the ball goes out of play.
More officials?
Perhaps. Because we need something. Because the ball was clear. The ball was.
Though, Martin.
Yeah, but sportsmanship. I don't think it comes
That ship
into
has
that.
sailed.
It's
mate.
not gonna. No, it's not gonna happen. Can you imagine in 1986, Maradona saying, "Sorry, I handballed that." It's not gonna happen, Noel, is
No,
it?
but it's just the integrity, though, honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, we were robbed of a point at least on Saturday, and
Yeah.
it's just going to get washed out the window. That's what's
so
so
the next
annoying.
time, no,
And yet-
and I'm an idealist like you at times. So the next time one of your players dives and simulates and cheats and rolls around and creates an outcome for another player because he wants to get him sent off, are you going to have the same level of irritation about what people should and shouldn't do when it comes to sportsmanship and integrity?
Yeah, but Simon, at the end of the day, it's a sport and integrity comes into it.
Yeah, but you're not
If
really
you
answering
do
my question.
wrong,
No, I understand, mate, and I agree with you. But we now live in an age where players spend their entire time diving, rolling around and feigning injury, which I would imagine includes your players too.
Yeah, but in my day, we didn't do that. But now it's just a money game.
Francis
isn't
Lee
it?
used to do
We
it all the
just got
time.
kicked and got up and played with it. You know, but Simon, come on. I mean,
like you, Noel.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the monitor in the dugout can see the balls out. They can go, oh, two managers, go up. No, that's wrong. You're cheating.
In an ideal world, I think it would be wonderful, no, but I don't really see it happening overnight. What about Tom, a Sheffield United fan? What's your take on this, Tom? Are you having VAR in the Championship?
No way. Hate it.
Really?
I had last season in Premier League. I just don't understand how they can get these decisions wrong, even when they look at it.
Yeah, but I mean, there were two glaring decisions that were wrong in that game we're talking about. Whether or not in the game between Norwich and Derby, and Derby suffered not once but twice.
Yeah, it swings and roundabouts though, but I cannot stand it. I can't stand it.
You're just not having it at all. I mean, to be honest, your pal Trevor Birch,
Yeah.
will they be having conversations, do you think, on a Monday morning after the weekend that saw those two howlers?
Depends if they're happy being the poor relation in the equation. And of course, I answered the question first off by a qualified answer, which is, do we believe that VAR has advanced the outcomes? And the answer is yes. Statistically, there are more decisions being gotten right as a result of it.
Yeah.
But the problem is the lack of spontaneity and ultimately the amount of time it takes to get there. Now, we're not hearing so much of that this season because we're now moving to a new version of VAR, which is becoming more sophisticated and will get even more sophisticated with automated responses. But when you've got a situation like this, I mean, I remember 10 years ago, a boy playing for me at Palace scores a goal against Bristol City, hits the ball, hits the back of the net, comes out so fast that the referee gives a goal kick because it hits a stanchion behind. And being apoplectic. I remember writing articles in the Observer about why is it the only sport in the world has jumpers for goalposts. So we should be using technology, and the Premier League, if the Premier League does it, which is supposedly the blue ribbon of English football, then everyone else should do it.
And the goal wasn't awarded to you?
It wasn't for no,
but that was funny.
It wasn't. I was apoplectic and got myself into all kinds of trouble
I
for
bet you
saying
did.
dreadful
Jim,
things.
just looking back to the Norwich goal, so Josh
It wasn't
Sargent,
funny either.
Josh Sargent has crossed this ball.
Yes.
I've seen pictures of it. I mean, it's way over the line. VAR would have cleared this up.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, there was a
Well,
ball.
that's the point.
It's not infallible VAR. It's certainly not as good as I would have expected or wanted it to be. And we had a ball over the line against Newcastle, didn't we, last year, which looked to all intents and purposes, it was over the line. So I hope we got like this perimeter technology.
Was that
would be
against?
would be
Oh,
nice.
Arsenal, yeah, of course.
Would be nice.
Yeah,
But
Simon,
no,
the sport you love, tennis, gets it right every
correct.
time.
Yeah.
Every time.
But
They look at the line, out,
yes.
in or out.
Yeah, but we've also, Martin's right to have this argument. If you're going to do it properly, which is have sensors all around the ground, so that if it goes over the line from a dead ball point of view, there's no debate. If you're going to automate it, tennis is different because it's all you're not talking about people simulating a point, are you? You know, I put him off by simulating that I was going to do a serve. In fact, I did a backhand across the other side of the court. No, you didn't. You served the ball. It was either in or out.
Well, two of the goals in Norwich's win over Derby should have seemingly been ruled out. The ball went out of play on both occasions in the build-up to the finishes. Mark is a Norwich fan. Mark, where do you stand on this? Presumably, you're happy there's no VAR in the Championship because you lot benefited.
Well, I'm happy that there's no VAR in the Championship because I don't like VAR at all. But we've had decisions against us on so many occasions in the last 2 or 3 seasons. This one went for us again next week Tuesday against Leeds. We'll probably have one go against us, and that's just the way that football is now. Simon is saying if we're going to have it, then we'll have it. I mean, I support Kings Lynn in the lower leagues, How far down are you going to go with this, Simon? You know, with this.
Well, I would say that my argument would be steeped in professional football. So I would say in the 92 teams that play in the professional football leagues rather than the non-leagues. That would be my qualification point.
So what is the Championship? Okay. It's the 5th or 6th biggest league in European football.
In attendance-wise, absolutely.
So in Scotland, Jim, they have it. It's even bigger than Scottish football.
They have it in Scotland. They don't have it here in the Championship. And it seems to me it's a no-brainer.
It's interesting. You know, talk about fair play. Josh Sargent, who crosses that ball for Norwich, would have seen that ball was clearly out. In fact, you can see it in his body language. He thinks, "Hold on a minute, someone's going to work me out in a minute," and they didn't. It is.
Are you suggesting, Mr. Keown, that you were whiter than white in all the games that you played in your career?
No, I would have been yellow in that occasion. I would have said nothing. I'd have crossed it and I wouldn't have said anything. Didn't we see Thierry Henry do that in a talk? Yeah, but so what do you want me to do? I'm expecting them to officiate.
I want you to hold yourself to a higher standard,
I can't be completely certain, but there'd be a hint of me thinking, was that in? Was it out?
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Now, did you see the incident?
Yes, I did.
Did you see the handball when the defender came in and handballed the cross that Sargent sent in first before it went out?
Yeah, but none of that matters. You got chronologically.
Well, of course it matters.
Take it back to the cross.
Presumably VAR would have picked up the penalty.
No, but the ball's already out of play, isn't it? So none of that happens if they officiate correctly.
That happened first, didn't it?
You're being incredibly brave, Mark. Yes.
No, so
the cross came in first.
Yeah.
And then the ball went out into touch. Clearly went into touch. But the chap who came in to defend the cross first.
So you feel that it'd have been a goal anyway? It'd have been a goal anyway because it'd been a penalty.
What I'm saying is, and everybody's got their opinion, but what I'm saying is all of these decisions are either going to be picked up by VAR. When we go to Norwich now, when we were in the Premiership, there's a excuse my French, it was a nightmare because you never knew when you were going to celebrate. Now at least we know when the ball goes in the net, you know it's a goal.
Mark, we like you. You're a very polite fan as well. There was a bloody... Oh, excuse my French. Kevin, Leeds United fan, finish this off for me, Kevin. Where are you going with it? VAR in the Championship. Are you having it?
Sadly, yes. As a football fan, I don't want to see it. But as a business, which is what football is, I think we need it. I think when you've got the FA and the governing bodies instructing such strict rules on profit and sustainability, dishing out points deductions to clubs that have fallen foul of that.
Yeah.
When a single decision on a field can dictate whether a club's getting relegated next season or not, and that's the margins we're talking here, you've got to implement it. As a Leeds fan last season, we played Sunderland. I remember phoning up and speaking to you guys, and we lost to a penalty they should never have had. Clear cut, even the referee said no, it was a mistake. Yes, you can't define our season on that, and we bottled it at the end of the season, but it does have a knock-on on confidence. We beat Sunderland that day. It's a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
And the wrong decisions can have massive economical hits to clubs, especially in the Championship.
Well said, Kevin.
We have a sensible conversation. Now we've got a sensible caller coming in, Jim, because, look, I think it's disrespectful to the Championship to not do it. Why are they saying they can't have it? Is it not important?
Well, we'll get on to that. We'll see if there are any plans to implement it because it should be in operation, you would think, by now. There's a Bristol City fan referring to that game Simon talked about when the ball hit the stanchion against Palace, came back out and no goal was given. I was at that game, Simon, and I'm a Bristol City fan. I found it incredibly funny that the goal kick was given. Every person in the ground knew it went in, apart from the ref.
Indeed.
12 noon.
Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.